Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, before we broke for lunch, you had highlighted the issue about whether an IMC is listed in the, I think originally you said Gazette, but you then gave the proper name. And I intend to quickly cover that. I understand the document is called Official Guide to South Africa, and then it's produced on an annual basis. And in that document, then amongst others, IMCs would be listed. And you raise this to point out that in the 24-25, it was not listed. And I don't know if you took it so far as to then suggest that it had ceased to exist. Was that the intention?
Yes.
Are you aware, as we know, the PKTT IMC, the president constituted in 2018. That's beyond debate.
Yes.
Correct? And you are aware that in the 1819 official guide, this document I reference, that this particular IMC was not listed.
Correct.
And it continued to do its job and report to the president in the normal course.
Correct.
And in 2019-2020, it was not listed yet again.
Correct.
And it continued to function and report to the president.
Correct.
And so there's similarly in 2021, 2020, 2021, and in 2021, 2022. It was not part of that listing that you drew our attention to.
Correct.
Nonetheless, it continued to exist. It engaged in KZN on political killings, and it duly reported to the president.
Correct.
And based on those reports that the president received, he in turn reported to the nation as to what is happening regarding political killings in KwaZulu-Natal.
Correct.
The only years it appeared in that document were 2022, 2023,
Correct.
and 2023, 2024.
Correct.
I don't know if we have one for 24, 25. The point I seek to make to you is whether or not an IMC exists, that's on the one part, or continues to exist, cannot be determined by whether or not it's listed in that document. Would you accept that proposition?
I would qualify that whether it exists, it is listed or not listed. You would, as I said, I got a letter appointing me to as co-chair of the JCPS. So you do get that kind of conversation, which I didn't get on this. It was on those bases. I mean, additional thing to qualify what you're saying.
Also, it's no longer whether or not it appears on that list. That's not the determining factor now.
No, I'm saying over and above what you are saying, there is something that indicates that where you are and so on, where you're not.
Okay. In the interest of time, perhaps I'll just note that your response is noted, and I'll move on. Lastly, you relied on the second work study, and this is the 2024 work study, and that's your SM5. File 2 of 2 exhibits, SM5. Where's my file?
I've just been told that, oh, sorry.
Whose file is that? Who took my files? SM5, it should start at page 181. Commissioners, I'm at file 2 of 2 of the exhibits, and I just referred the minister to SM5, which is an annexure to his statement. And SM5, Minister, you'll see, is titled Evaluation of the Implementation of Approved Work Study Investigations for the Establishment and Review of Resources for Specialized Investigation Capacities Detective Services. Do you see?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want to draw your attention to page 201. And I think yesterday morning, or was it at your previous appearance on Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. Commissioner Khumalo drew your attention to this document and specifically to the recommendations that started from page 200. You see that? They started
Correct.
200.
Correct.
And in particular to clause or paragraph 8.10 at page 201. And it reads, current task teams must be subjected to an impact analysis by organizational development and strategic management in the province to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. My question is, when was that exercise undertaken in respect of the PKTT?
Well, I wouldn't know before I arrived.
Okay.
It could be. It could have been done. I didn't check.
Can I pose my question differently?
Yes.
Did you satisfy yourself that that exercise had been undertaken in respect of the PKTT before you directed that it be disestablished?
No, I didn't. But I did say I relied on reports that were presented to us, among which was the document that was signed by all officers and brought or submitted to the Office of the National Commissioner, which he didn't sign up until this year. He only signed this year.
Which document is that? Apologies, Minister. Is it on record as far as you're aware? Have you tendered it as part of your annexures? I think Commissioner Khumalo is about to come to our assistance. Thank you.
Okay. But it's a document on specialized. It's Marai report.
This is the same document we are dealing with.
Yes.
So the signatures you are looking for are on pages 211, 210, 212, 207,
Oh, yes.
and 205. But it's the same document. And 204.
2, 4.
So the signature page of the report is on page 202. What then follows are the comments and recommendations.
Yes. Yes, this one is the latest 2025.
Yes, and
The 2024 that I'm talking about that I looked at was the one that was signed in 2024.
yes.
Yes.
And that is your SM5, is that not so? And that is what Commissioner Kumalo referred to, and is the same document I was reading from. Your SM5, just to orientate ourselves, starts at page 181 and runs up to the document itself up to 212, and then it's got another document attached to it headed Supplementary Input Financial Implications, starting at 213. The signatures, I think that you were referring to, or I understood you to be, unless I misunderstood, start from page 202 with the signature of Colonel Murray on the 6th of March 2024 at page 202.
Yes. If it's
And
that
it
one.
goes to page 211. No, 212, with the
Yes.
last one being General Masemola, who appends his signature on the 5th of June 2020.
Yes, that's the document.
Oh, I think I see your issue. You recall I directed you to page 202.
Yes,
The first signature is that of Colonel Murray, and that is the 2024 signature.
correct.
And everybody else thereafter also appends their signature in 2024 up
Correct.
until page 210.
Correct.
And with General Sibia signing on the 16th of September 2024.
Correct.
Okay. Now, at 211, General Dimpani signs, but on the 3rd of March 2025.
Correct.
And overleaf at 212, General Masemola signs
Correct.
on the 5th of June 2025.
Correct.
Okay. So you are, with reference to what I read out, I had asked whether the recommendation that the current task teams be subjected to an impact analysis to ensure feasibility, as contained here.
Yes.
What is your response, that it was not a requirement at the time, or?
No, I understood myself to be responding to your question by saying this is the document that I relied on, if I could use that word.
Yes.
And to say that all these signatures would be indicating approval of the assessment by Marai.
Yes.
Yes.
And would they indicate approval of the recommendations set out therein?
I take it that everything that is said in the report.
Okay, I think where Commissioner Kumar was trying to assist us was where you referenced a document in 2025, but in effect there isn't one. It's just that General Masemola signed in 25. It's the same document.
There isn't one.
There isn't another document.
Oh, yes.
signed.
It is this
It
that
is
I was
this
saying.
one.
It was in the National Commissioner's Office for a year.
And in fact, at your paragraph 168, you do invoke this report when you advance your second reason for disbandment.
Yes.
You base it on this report.
Yes.
Hence, I go to the recommendations and say they stipulate that there's an exercise that must be undertaken to ensure the feasibility or to determine the feasibility. And what I was checking with you was, did it take place? And I think your response, if I'm not misquoting you, was you're not aware it could very well have happened already by the time you assumed office. My second question was then, did you satisfy yourself that it indeed had been undertaken? Because this becomes a central document to support your reason number 2. Did you satisfy yourself?
No, not to that extent, because this is work that gets done under the National Commissioner, processing that and doing so. You wouldn't find Minister going to Western Cape to check whether the component on such and such is at the level. You get it at high level. And this is what I got at high level, that there has been an assessment and it was signed off, and meaning that they accepted, all those who signed, accepted whatever was recommended, including things that needed to be done shortly thereafter or at whatever other point. So with this, you say these people, when they signed, they were indicating readiness, and you have no reason to doubt because you don't have any other evidence that makes you doubt the officials.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister. I note your response. I would like us to move to the other aspect, which is central to your letter of disbandment. And I think you had very briefly touched on it in your engagement this morning with Commissioner Baloyi. And this, I think you termed them human rights abusers, yes. The reports that you had received,
yes,
of human rights. And you deal with that from page 26.
Yes, correct.
At paragraph 73, you list a number of complaints and the persons that complained, and you summarize basically the essence of the complaint. And these are some of the complaints that informed you that the best course to take was to disband.
Correct.
Now, I look at, and I think yesterday you did indicate that they are more HR in nature. Did I understand you correctly?
I said HR and
yes,
and other practices that are not. There's something that I qualified.
Okay.
A further qualification.
I accept that. Thank you. But I see all of these persons listed here in 73 are police officers.
Yes, on the list.
Now, insofar as HR matters are concerned, I would expect SAPS to have a grievance procedure or process, yes, with all its appeal stages.
Yes.
And at no stage would the minister be involved. It's internal within the SAPS organization. Would I be correct in my assessment?
I do indicate, and I did indicate yesterday, in case by case, for instance, with regard to number one, that it went beyond National Commissioner directly to me in terms of the grievance, and I referred it back. In fact, we had a discussion with National Commissioner on that, and we ended up allocating it to Deputy Minister Matale, who dealt with it, and until it was finalized, as is indicated there. So there are those instances where things like grievances or complaints would involve us. I must say that. Well, not by way of escalating a complaint or a grievance, I would say so. So this is one of them, and the others that follow.
My concern is this, Minister. I think it's only appropriate I share it with you. SAPS is a very large organization.
Yes.
I think the workforce is well over 20,000. It's a significant organization, and one would expect in an organization like that there'll be systems and processes to deal with issues, some of which may in fact be reflected in regulations.
Yes.
And they dictate how members should engage with grievances or issues they require address.
Yes.
And the only way the system will operate and function and serve the organization is if everybody adheres to a determined process.
Yes.
And looking at the ranks, Lieutenant General, Major General, Lieutenant General, above these people, there is still the National Commissioner who is the General. The part I struggle with is where the minister gets involved in a matter involving a Major General within SAPS on HR matters, where that problem hasn't run its course through the organizational systems. How do you justify the minister's involvement?
Those matters would have run, as I know, they did run their course. At the end of the course, as prescribed, as you describe it, then the person wants to make an appeal or is not satisfied with that course having run its course. And then it comes to us. We don't invite it. You don't say, anyone with a grievance, come to me. They come to you. You then go to the National Commissioner. You say, there is this thing that I'm coming across, as we did. What is this? And he explains and he says, we dealt with this matter, but this person was not satisfied. You call the person, you say, your matter was dealt with. You are still not satisfied. What's the problem? That's when I then asked Deputy Minister Matale to work with the National Commissioner and other officials to resolve the matter, and it was resolved. They just changed some of the issues, whatever they were. I can't remember in detail, but it had to do with somebody who was transferring from SAPS to the National Assembly with some conditions that they were not agreeing to. So it happened, and it does happen. And then each of those, we dealt with them in that way. And as you see, others, like I did indicate that others say, no, I make an appointment. Okay, what is it? No, I've got such and such a grievance, but my matter is in court. I don't want your assistance. I was just making you aware. So people come, you don't know what they want to come for. They tell you, you then channel whatever grievance. Not because you invite yourself or you just get into matters. It's because you want to satisfy the other person. And you want to do a collective effort to the best of your ability, all of you. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do those things, but properly, of course, you are going to be confronted by a question in Parliament, and you are going to be confronted by a question, what did you do? Thank you.
Minister, the complaints in paragraph 73, 73.1 to 73.8, are they against the PKTT?
No, I did indicate that from SAPS, others, human rights, and I did say others from PKTT in the paragraphs that are relevant. And I then categorized them into two. Possibly these ones are SAPS intelligence, but there are others that are from PKTT. Maybe not in this list, but in the other list where the Commission advised me to take counsel from counsel. Though in there are those who come from PKTT.
Thank you. Commissioner Balwezi.
Minister, under this heading, human rights concerns, you start in paragraph 71, and that's how I would like us to look at the context in which we must look at your paragraph 73, what it is you're seeking to convey or to do. In paragraph 71, you say your office received a series of complaints and reports from civil society actors. You haven't named them in your statement. You say with whistleblowers, maybe in their nature they are not to be disclosed. You said SAPS members, Parliament, and members of the public. You say you received complaints. And then you say these reports, and this is the important part for me, you say these reports raised concerns about the human rights abuses by members of the NPKTT, governance failures affecting the various temporary and ad hoc task teams, including but not limited to the NPKTT. So let's limit it to the PKTT because you've mentioned them specifically. So you say these complaints that you've received from those different categories of people, they implicated the PKTT. And remember that we are in this inquiry because of the decision to disband the PKTT, when we are looking at why that would have been done. Having given that summary of the people that came to you with reports and complaints about the PKTT, you then say in paragraph 72, the complaints from various complainants varied in content and emphasis, but they shared common themes: unmonitored task team operations, resulting in grave human rights abuses. Now, we know later on that you rely on Ms. De Haas's complaints because you have referred to her about human rights abuses. And in fact, I think yesterday when you testified, you said one of the things that have been reported to you is members of the PKTT wearing balaclavas when they go and do operations. That's part of your concerns about them. And then you say again, unclear reporting lines, allegations of overreach, duplication of functions, and significant strain on SAP's resources. And you have said what your concerns are about the financial implications of having PKTT. Now, from 73, you then set out, from 73, 74, and 77, you then discuss the complaints that you have. The first 73, it is, you say, for the benefit of the commission, the complaints are listed, and you give us a list of employees and what the issues in some cases were. They look typically, all of 73, they look typically like employee relations issues, HR issues.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I have a question. I made a note for myself to ask you, are these PKTT issues?
No.
They are not. Okay. Then, so we can discount all of 73 that you've got. It has nothing to do with PKTT, and it could not have been part of your reasons for dissolving the PKTT.
Correct.
They were not. All right. But what you haven't explained to us is what are the issues relating to PKTT about unclear reporting lines? What are the allegations of overreach against the PKTT? You've spoken to us about duplication of functions, and I think there you refer to what the murder and robbery unit can do, which is being done by the PKTT. So maybe I do have an idea there. And then your strain of SAP's resources, you're talking about the financial implications, but the rest of it you haven't. So I have struggled in reading this, and so far you haven't explained to us why or how these factors you list here would have been, except for financial strain and duplication of functions. You haven't said to us how it is that these were factors that you would have validly taken into account in the decision to disband the PKTT.
There is it's just that I'm trying to find in my own submission. There is a last sentence there that say other people.
Apologies. I might be able to assist you. What are you looking for in your statement?
73.8, I think it is, Minister. On page 27, I think that's what you're looking for.
Page 27.
Yeah, paragraph 73.8 of your statement. The very paragraph that we've been looking at. And then sub-para 73.8. I think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yes. There is then 7.3.8.
Yes.
7.3.8 says, and other names to be submitted to the commissioners
Yes.
for confidentiality.
Okay. Now,
Those
Yes.
have something to do with PKTT, but I couldn't write here for
Yes.
confidentiality.
I accept, and I know how we resolved it yesterday, your list,
Yes.
but you haven't told us what is it about those names. First, what is it about those names rather, that contributed, if they do, to your decision to disband the PKTT? You haven't said it. You handed up the list yesterday, and then it was handed back to you to say your counsel, maybe you should speak to your counsel to advise you how to handle that list. But as we sit now with your statement and you're sitting there, we don't, at least let me speak in the singular. I don't know what those 8 names have to do with your decision to disband the PKTT, if they do at all. That's 1. 2, because I don't know what the issues are about the 8, I'm not in a position to say whether you validly or correctly took them into account in your decision to disband the PKTT, if that's in fact what happened.
It is covered, they are covered, that category, in paragraph 71 in the main, where we say these reports raise concerns about human rights abuses by members of the NPKTT, governance failures, and so on. They are covered there in that paragraph. I didn't write anything separate for them because this paragraph covers all the categories, including Ms. Becker and all of that in just one paragraph. But the details are not here.
So where, yeah, I guess I'm trying to see how 73.8 is of any use to us if we don't know what in fact it is about these individual complaints, those in 73.8.
Yes.
If the commission doesn't know what it is that they complain about to you and that you could have validly taken into account
Yes.
in your decision, until you tell us the nature, I think it doesn't help to say they fall under 70.1 or 70.2, 72 rather, 71 and 72, if we don't have details of it. And I want to remind you that you have just conceded, for example, to Ms. Sello, and to me, you've accepted that 73 is typically employee relations matters, right? That have nothing to do with the minister ordinarily. And I have nothing right now, looking at your statement and having listened to you, there's nothing that tells us that those 8 people in that list, it's not exactly the same issues of employee relations. Because if it is employee relations issues, then they must be irrelevant to your decision to disband the PKTT. We must look somewhere else for an explanation.
It is for that reason, commissioners, that I thought I would be able to appeal favorably to the commission to listen to those people. Then I submitted the names, 8 names, so that the commission can know and determine whether my assessment was actually correct as to be part of what would have influenced me to write the directive. Now, the commission advised me to revert to my lawyers for advice, which I accepted. Now, we haven't processed that so that I know what my lawyers are advising me to do, so that you can know, as the commission, what is it that is the. I couldn't write that, because if I wrote that, that would mean that I would be breaching confidentiality that these people contacted me and made reports based on confidentiality arising from their security. So that is the issue that I have. That's the explanation that I can give.
Maybe then lastly about that, can we then agree that until that list and the detail of the issues that they have raised with you and the dates when they raised it,
Yes.
Until all of that is properly placed before the commission, we don't have any relevant evidence about complaints of SAPS members on which you relied to make the decision to disband the PKTT. I'm not sure if I'm articulate enough that you understood what I'm saying.
You're articulate. I've understood. I will take advice. I will then test again whether the commission does accept that, and I'll proceed on those bases as advised.
All right. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Minister, if you are able to answer, the 8 that you have, the list
Yes.
that you have, when would those people have raised those issues? When did they raise those issues with you?
They exactly fall in the category of 71, where I say during the latter part or half of 2024, that is after we got appointed, shortly after.
So all of them is before your decision,
Yes.
before the 29th of December?
Yes, they called, others went up to an extent of requesting private meetings or confidential meetings, and I did hold such meetings with them.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
Minister, in your disbandment letter, do you mention these complaints and these human rights violations? Do you say in your disbandment letter, I've decided that the PKTT should be disestablished because I have received complaints, some of which include allegations of human rights abuses?
Now, in the letter, I didn't include details. I think on all 3 directives that I issued, except maybe in a very high level kind of thing. But when I wrote this, I did not particularly indicate any detail. It was just high level. And I was relying that
Even at a high level, surely you can say, I have serious concerns about human rights violations being perpetrated by the PKTT. I no longer think this group should exist because of that reason.
yes, I could, but I didn't, because if I could go further, when I received all of this, I think in January or just before the end of the year, somewhere there, I had a discussion with the Special Advisor Advocate Pikuli to say, look, there are matters here of a security nature, very sensitive. In order to deal with them, no, I said I'm not in a position to go to the National Commissioner to report these matters or to any other official. They have been raised with me on a confidential basis based on security. I think that we may need to consider a ministerial inquiry. That's how I put it. when we were discussing with Advocate Pikoli in confidence. We went up to the extent of coining some names of such people. There is the gravity, the extent of gravity of those complaints in that category of 8 people. But we got overtaken by events. We didn't get to that particular stage. But it was such that these are not matters that you can just call an official and say, sit here, repeat what you told me. They're not that simple. In the first place, a person comes to you in confidence and then say to you, look, I'm afraid I have fears for my life, but I trust you. I'm going to share with you 1, 2, 3. Then you start. At the end, you go back to what they would have said. You believe it, that, yes, I don't think it would have been advisable for you to do otherwise. You keep this thing.
Minister, I think you have answered me,
Okay.
because otherwise we will take the whole day. We won't get to the end of what we want to get to.
Mchunu.
Sorry, Mr.
Yes,
Still on
Commissioner.
this. Can I just check this? Minister, those 8 people that come to you confidentially, they give you their complaints.
Yes.
What did you do with those complaints? And I'm not asking you to, I note that you say you spoke to Mr. Pikoli.
Yes.
Other than that, about these 8 and their allegations, those allegations in particular or complaints, what did you do about them?
As I say, well, I know of one case, possibly, of one of them who wrote to the National Commissioner as well. But I don't know whether, I didn't inquire whether National Commissioner responded or not responded. But what did I do?
Yes.
I discussed with Advocate Pikoli. We resolved that a possible option is an inquiry, because if these things are true, they are quite grave matters, not just of HR, but there are issues of security, and there are alleged murders in them as well.
Okay. You said to Advocate Pikoli, if these matters are true, right, they are serious, that means you did not verify them. You thought about a ministerial investigation, but you did not verify them, the truthfulness of those allegations or complaints.
I didn't, beyond what they told me and beyond what they then subsequently deposed in their affidavits.
Now, you did not verify them, and yet you took those complaints into account as if they affect in making the decision to disband the PKTT. I have a difficulty with that you have this organization or this task team which has been endorsed by your predecessors, which has done work. You said in the morning to Ms. Sillo, you don't disagree where the National Commissioner says they have done beautiful work, great work. I think you read an excerpt on your statement. You said you don't disagree. You get complaints from 8 people. Maybe they are serious. We don't know. I'm prepared to accept you saying they are of grave seriousness, the allegations. But you don't verify them, and yet you rely on them to make a decision to disband the team. I see a problem there about how you got to that decision, that this is a factor I'm going to take into account.
Commissioner, I had no reason, even without verification, to doubt that. But I accept that there would need to be a platform that verifies, but they were serious enough. They were serious enough and I'm honest with the Commission, serious enough, detailed enough, with anecdotes to convince me that indeed they are serious and they need to be processed in a particular way.
I'm prepared to accept on your word that it is serious allegations that were made. I'm prepared to accept that. What I'm unable to accept or to understand is that even before you verify the truthfulness of those very serious allegations, and that in fact they implicate the task team as a team, not individuals in the team, even before you've done that verification for yourself, you take them into account towards your decision to dissolve the team. I do have a difficulty with that.
Well, I would accept that as Commissioner, you may have a difficulty, but from where I sit, listening to these people, showing me anecdotes and taking me through that and making references to incidents in some cases that they were able to verify, like whatever case number where they apply. I took, they caused me to really feel that it would be irresponsible of me not to take them serious. And I do admit here that they did influence me, rightly or wrongly, as the Commissioner says, to accept them, that I would be able to take that risk. And in some of my statements to the lawyers, I did write that, and that it was a risky exercise. There are, just outside the actual instances where you receive a verbal report from somebody, but it is strong enough for you to proceed in a particular way. And it was on those bases that I took them seriously, their numbers, their names, not necessarily writing everything in terms of notes, and searched for a particular platform. I can simply say, or go on to say, I couldn't engage National Commissioner on these matters for a reason. That it was, I considered it quite beyond that in terms of how it would affect him and people under him to do that. So I preferred not to go on at all with them. I just wanted to make sure that they are with me. I don't take any chance about them, because National Commissioner is a human being. He could find himself relating it to another official who might have been affected by what they are saying, at least in terms of allegations. And then the whole thing gets contaminated in that particular way.
All right. I have a difficulty, a separate difficulty with that last part, but let me ask out of your paragraph 71, the civil society actors that you refer to as your sources of complaints, is that a reference to Miss Meridi Haas?
Meridi Haas.
Okay, that's the civil society actors you refer to. We've established this SAPS members, and then Parliament. You said from Parliament.
Yes.
What is that? What are you referring to?
Well, just to exhaust that list, and Mashale and Ms. Becker, who publicized a lot of,
Yes,
made a lot of allegations, then continue to what you are looking for. To say, let me check.
You don't discuss any members of parliament
yes.
or anything coming out of parliament.
There is a member of parliament who wrote to us in the ministry, and his matter was then processed in a particular way. I was referring to that, a member of parliament.
Adams, I think we've heard the name Adams
Yes.
here. Is that where you say parliament, you actually mean
National
a member of parliament?
A member of parliament.
Not parliament itself.
No.
Because the way you've said it here, you say, I received a series of complaints from parliament.
It's a typo. It
So
meant
it should have been a member of parliament.
Yes.
And that would be
Accepted.
Mr. Adams.
Accepted.
Okay, so you took that into account as well.
Accepted.
What he got to say.
Yes.
Okay, and then members of the public, you've mentioned Ms. Mashale and I think Ms.
Ms.
Berger.
Berger.
That's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Having then addressed the complaints from people you listed, paragraph 73, all of whom are members of the service, let's now turn to what I think you term as members of civil society. I'm looking in particular from paragraph 74, after your listing of the various police members. You start with Ms. Mary de Haas, and then at paragraph 74, overleaf from paragraph 77. You then deal with Ms. Patricia Mashale.
Correct.
Without engaging necessarily with the content of Ms. Mashale's complaint, because I see that you rely on what she published on Facebook but basically on Facebook. I think it's Ms. de Haas who also relies on press releases. Did you have opportunity, just on that, to engage with Ms. Mashale about the contents of her Facebook postings on these issues?
Both Ms. de Haas, in fact, all three of them, Ms. de Haas, Mashale, Berger, I didn't meet any one of them. I took what I was reading. In some cases, like in the case of de Haas, she wrote to me.
Apologies, Minister. Can we confine ourselves to de Haas now? I want to split them. I want to first deal with Ms. Mashale, and thereafter we'll go to de Haas. So
yes, I picked
currently
up.
my question relates to whether you because you have quoted her postings on Facebook.
Yes.
And I want to know if you engaged with her on.
No.
Did you otherwise test the veracity of the claims she makes in those Facebook postings?
Not necessarily, except at one point when she made claims about people somewhere in Mpumalanga, there being camps and so on. When we went to investigate, indeed we found the camps. But we didn't tell her that we were going there to verify or to do whatever. I'm just saying that we did receive that allegation about existence of camps in Mpumalanga, and subsequent to that, SAPS made and other security units found that there were in fact camps there.
So it is on the basis of that, then you decided that the claims she makes in Facebook about SAPS no longer require verification, and you accept them at face value. Is that your position?
Well, we are using the word accept. What I did was to read.
Yes.
And having read, because I didn't speak to her, to say, well, in fact, I did speak to the National Commission about Mashal. And it did confirm that, yes, they are also, or he is also receiving a number of whatever she writes, sometimes directly to him, or he would find just allegations in one way or the other. So I got to know that what I may be receiving, he has also been receiving, and we had a description of her in the light conversation. So then that's how they're here.
Yes, and I have no difficulty in accepting that General Masemola would potentially have received the same messages. They are not directed to him. They were published by Ms. Mashale on Facebook. I have no difficulty in accepting that he would, one way or the other, have received them, whether directly or indirectly. I am not aware of General Masemola having taken drastic steps insofar as the organization of SAPS is concerned in respect, on the basis of those Facebook allegations. But you have, because you, Minister, you cite those Facebook claims that she makes, which you don't verify, which you state you had a conversation with General Masemola about, only to establish that they have come to General Masemola's attention. You do not indicate that you direct, if you can, or you could, or request General Masemola to investigate those claims. You do none of that. So the truthfulness or otherwise of those claims remain unknown, but they are sufficiently weighty for you to base a decision to disestablish the PKTT in December 2024. Is that a fair summation?
That would be a summation, but I think you are using quite lighter words than whatever is written, whether Facebook or elsewhere, would affect the image of SAPS, warranting your attention to do something about them. And therefore, you rely on what you see to say to what extent and so on. And in this particular case, I had a conversation with General Masemola and he confirmed that there is something like this. I am indicating here what has come to our environment, which came back as I wrote the letter that, at some point I came across something like this and something like that, and then I then indicated that, not measuring my reliability or whatever extent of influence in me writing the directive.
I understand your answer to mean that the claims advanced by Ms. Mashale in large part affect the image of SAPS. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And you consider that serious enough and therefore you accepted those allegations and acted in the manner you subsequently did?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at paragraph 77 of your statement, page 28, you state at the last line of that paragraph, I learned that Ms. Mashale is a former police officer. Based on the time you have spent with the police service, I hope you can help me here. I understand that the people who work within SAPS are either employed in terms of the SAPS Act, and those would be the police officers, and anyone else who is not is employed in terms of the Public Service Act. And there's a distinction between the two bodies of people that work for SAPS. Is that a correct understanding?
Correct.
Okay. Now I see here you call Ms. Mashale a former police officer. I would like to refer you to Exhibit Bundle 2 of 2. Annexure CJC 55.12. And 55.12 starts at page 351. And if you have located that annexure, please turn to page 364.
I have it.
Perhaps you might be familiar with that document. It is titled SAP 96. And I think when we were considering, I don't remember its general, the implementation letter, you recall, where the head of HR was talking about the necessity to complete documents and updating the PERSAL system. You recall that conversation we had? I understood that there to have been a reference to SAP 96. If you don't recall, I'll understand. But
Yeah, I won't be sure. Yeah.
then 364 is SAP 96, as we understand it. Every single employee within SAPS has got this document, and it must be maintained at all times at SAPS. It records every detail about the employee. And one of the most important details is, I'm going to count lines to try and direct you. Line 10 and the first part of this document. The extreme left reads Appointment Act, and against that, it reads PSA 1994. Do you see that?
Yes.
And that is the Public Service Act.
Yes.
The next line reads job description, and against that, it states admin clerk. Do you see that?
I see that.
And we are informed that based on those two only from her SAP 96, she cannot be classified as a police officer. How did you determine that she was one, or she was ever one?
Well, I would say that that was a merely colloquial.
Apologies, I missed that. You say that was a mere?
I would say that was the use of the word in a colloquial sense.
Oh, okay. I get it. I accept that. Thank you. Now, turning...
Which one is the use of the word colloquial? That she's a police officer or that she's an admin clerk? Minister? You say the use of the word was colloquial. My question is, which use? Because you've referred to her as a police officer, and the form refers to her as an admin officer. Admin clerk.
Yes.
So there are two different descriptions of her, and you say one of them is colloquial. So I'm asking, which one is colloquial of the two?
I'm saying this word, police officer, was used in that context.
Okay. All right. I understand. Thank you.
Are you aware of... You do know that Ms. Mashale... Yes, you do, because you call her a former. So that implies that she's no longer with the SAPS.
Yes.
Are you aware of the circumstances under which her employment with the SAPS ceased?
Am I aware?
Yes, are you aware of the circumstances in which...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I'm
what
aware.
are those?
I'm aware.
Could you briefly summarize what those were to your understanding?
She was dismissed, as indicated there, from SAPS.
Okay. I would like to draw your attention to page 356 of the same file. It's still the same annexure, CJC 55.12.
Which page?
356.
356. Yes.
Page 356 is a letter dated the 11th of February 2022, signed by Brigadier District Commissioner Harip M.E. Makubo, and it is addressed to the Provincial Commissioner Free State, which, as I understand from SAP 96, that is where Ms. Mashali was based. Do you see that?
Yes.
This document informs, and others attached to it. It's not necessary to go through all of them, but I think this one at 356 sufficiently summarizes the issues. That an expeditious hearing had been convened against Ms. Mashali, to which she was invited for a hearing on the 26th of January 2022. I'm reading first paragraph. And second paragraph reads, during the expeditious hearing, the employee and her representative decided to walk out without presenting their side of the story after being given an opportunity to do so. And the third, the hearing was therefore accordingly indefinitely postponed for 10 days as provided for in Regulation 9(7). However, since then, till to date, that's the date of the letter, the employee has not reconvened or made any contact with the delegated official to indicate her intention to revive the sitting of the hearing. And for concludes, it is hereby therefore officially recorded that the employee failed to reconvene the hearing, and by operation of law, she is dismissed from the service. Do you see that?
Yes.
Were you aware of those circumstances?
Yes.
Do you have any comment as to the propriety of her conduct in that regard?
Not only a comment. When I received a series of, or when I came across a series of things that she writes about the subs, I asked because she was writing more on crime intelligence at some point, and I asked the IGI just to do a check about her and all of that. That's how I got to know some of the things about her.
And now I wanted to find out, now that you've learned some things about her, when did you so learn them?
When did I?
When did you learn those, whatever it is?
It was
about
during
her?
that period that is indicated in after we got appointed.
Okay.
Yes.
And even then, that did not create a concern for you and demanded of you to subject her allegations in Facebook of the magnitude that they are to some serious interrogation. That was still not enough for you.
I would plead with commissioners that your voice be raised a little bit.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, I've lost use of this. I think there must be a problem of the battery or something.
No, I think we should stand down.
So I'm doing with my hearing aids.
No, no, Minister. We will stand down and we will seek to resolve the problem.
We'll come back as soon as we've been advised to.
Thank you, Chair.